like what the biggest thing to come from the taxes is that he has failing businesses, hardcore failing businesses, and it is pretty like easy to see that his brand is all that matters. His name on buildings, him being on The Apprentice, him becoming president, him looking like a successful businessman is where all of his money goes to. So Trump has his brand so that he can be on The Apprentice, where he makes like $306 million. But that $306 million goes to funds for his failing businesses. So he has to use the money from The Apprentice to make sure that his failing businesses stay afloat so that he can continue looking like he's rich, so that he can keep his brand, so that he can stay on The Apprentice, so that he can, keep funding his failing businesses so that he can look
So you're
interesting
saying
to me.
he took out The Apprentice and replaced it with the POTUS.
Yeah. Yes. Like it's all about his brand to look like a successful businessman, because most of his money comes from like photo shoots and appearances and all sorts of other things that have nothing to do with his businesses, but they do have to do with his brand looking like a successful businessman. And so that's everything to him, is looking like a successful businessman so that he can continue funding his failing businesses, so that he can look like a successful businessman, so he can it's just a vicious cycle.
So none of that matters to me on politics. It honestly doesn't.
Yeah, sure.
It's about
sure.
his policies and what we're trying to accomplish as a country. That's why I'm just not interested in his fucking taxes. I just think it's stupid.
On politics, I think it matters because lots of people vote for him thinking of him as a successful businessman. That's what he is. He's, the king negotiator. He's the deal maker, and it is working, yes, so that he can sell books, so that he can be, on shows, and yes, it is working, but it doesn't mean that he's actually, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. In my head, it doesn't mean he's actually a good businessman. It means he's a good publicist, or he's good at molding a brand to make people like him, which is why he ends up with a cult-like following. It's always interesting to think how is it that this guy who doesn't seem to be able to think far enough to make a plate in a buffet restaurant, his brain just doesn't seem to be that intricate. But then you find out the businesses that apparently are so successful, that are so that he's just killing it with, that he's such a great negotiator, and he's the deal maker, and he's the writing books, The Art of the Deal, because everybody needs to know how to make a deal like Donald Trump. It turns out it's all just more of a facade so that he can look like a businessman, because he's more interested in the fame that comes from it instead of actually making money.
He's just promoting his brand like he's a successful person, because making your brand look good is kind of business 101.
Sure, but it's not working for him. He's losing money at a ridiculously
I think it's working quite well, depending on what side you're looking at it from.
I mean, that's true. He's making a lot of money being president right now.
No, he's only making $1 a year.
$1 a year, yeah. So here we go. Taxes. President not taking a check. So Tom, I know you had a lot on this whole part of him not taking a check, and your thoughts on it. I'll let you volley. It's yours.
Okay, so Trump. It's true. Trump doesn't take his check, but he does a lot of things that cost American taxpayers a lot of money. So what the other day I was talking
impeached, that fucker. No, sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that in there.
Yes, getting impeached. The freaking jerk had to go and get impeached. Cost us so much money. Then on top of that, He takes like private jets instead of taking Air Force One, which costs us money. He goes to, Mar-a-Lago on a consistent basis. Supposedly he's golfed 20 times more just in like 1 year than Obama did in all 8 years. And Mar-a-Lago, somebody the other day was like, Tom, stop complaining about Mar-a-Lago. He owns Mar-a-Lago. Like, we're not paying for that. And I was like, oh, crap. Is that true? Why do I keep hearing he's paying for Mar-a-Lago? Then I go check. Yeah, no, the taxpayer still pays for him to go play at his own places where he has not relinquished ownership of, like every other president in the history of presidencies. But then he also, his campaign money, like all of his donations for his campaign, whereas every other candidate donated all of their money to charity, and they always do, he kept all of his millions of dollars. He kept all of it and used that to fund.
He should be like all the other politicians that just let their wife keep their stock in Big Pharma or fucking like Heinz ketchup or whatever the fuck, and make all their billions of dollars through the wife. That's the more American way to do it.
Yeah,
lobbyists.
Yeah, maybe. But like, yeah, so donating his check, sure, but his check comes nowhere. Like, and when I say nowhere close, I mean like he's spending like 10 times, 20 times more on just frivolous things, living the life of a king. Whereas his paycheck would be like $400,000, he's spending like hundreds of millions of dollars on crazy stuff. So it's a bit more complicated than to just say he doesn't keep a check. He donates his check to charity, but the millions of dollars he got in campaign donations, he kept all of that. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to fact check some of it. I've never actually looked this up, so
yeah. Well, and then there was also, so in his taxes, he kept saying he was being audited, and that's why he couldn't show his taxes, is because he was in the middle of being audited. Turns out he was in the middle of litigation because he had a failing business. It failed, and there's a like a tax deduction where you can say, okay, the business failed. I'm just stepping away from it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just letting it go. It's failed. It's done. I have nothing to do with it anymore. And so that way you don't have to pay taxes on any of the profits, any of the money that came in, nothing, because you claimed it as a complete failure. So he did that. Somebody else took over that business. Then later on, he started getting stocks, money from the stocks from that company. And it turns out, instead of selling that company when he claimed it as a failure, he didn't sell it, but he negotiated big stock options, and I think it was like first choice stock options, so to where he gets paid before everybody else. And now he's getting money, even though he claimed it as a failure and got like massive tax deductions on it. So the IRS came back and was like, no, dude, you owe us that money now. You sold it. Like, you got stock options. That's a sale. And he's like, no. I got stocks for it, not money. They're like, but you got money from the stocks. He's like, that's not what the tax code says. It says if I got money, I got stocks.
So until he sells those stocks, then that's when you typically pay tax on them.
Right. It's first choice stocks to where he's already seeing dividends from it regardless.
So, yeah, then you have to tax the dividends. But, yeah.
But it's still, he's still got something in return. He still got paid for it, technically. Yes.
Tom, didn't you just say he was a shitty businessman? Because you just made him sound like a fucking brilliant businessman.
Yeah, you did.
He's going to end up having to pay all that money to the IRS, though. 1, 2, he's lost all of his money in business. All gets lost. He makes he has to keep going and doing other things and pimping out his brand in order just to keep those afloat. He's not
Probably.
winning at business. He's barely staying above water. And it's like when I say like the weird thing about it, and again, I'm not crapping on him for this. Like it just it shows like it becomes obvious that he's more worried about the way he looks as a businessman than actually being a businessman. Like he's more worried about
his self-image is his top priority. Absolutely.
I think it's fame that's his top priority. Like it's being famous, because why do you care? There's lots of there's lots of billionaires and rich people that we've never even heard of. They don't care about their brand. They're not out doing interviews and running for president and doing all sorts of other stuff. He wants the love. He wants the fame.
He's always wanted to be a celebrity, and he finally achieved the pinnacle of celebrity status. And not only did he reach the pinnacle, he became notorious. So yeah, it absolutely is. He's all about the brand building, and he's good at it. Amanda, let's talk about how Trump wanted to send innocent black boys to jail, calling them super predators. How about Kamala Harris, who did send innocent black people to jail for marijuana?
And kept them on death row.
Lied last night about wanting to decriminalize marijuana, but no.
I mean, that's a bit of a pivot to say like we don't like Kamala Harris either. So do we now not like Trump because he did it as well?
I think it's bad on both sides.
Well, people. So with the Trump thing, I can't remember if he walked that one back or not. I do remember when that happened, but at the time, like the information wasn't 100% out yet. Like the story was not framed well from the start, and then more information came out. I thought he walked it back, but that's
well, they
one
both
that
also done a
only
bunch
a few people still hang on to that one. Oh Jesus Christ! What the hell was that? Sorry.
Oh my goodness, Trump virus 20. So but both Kamala Harris and Trump have both done a lot for like prison reform, and even though they've made a lot of people go to jail for a lot longer, they've also made sure that a lot of people get less time as well. I think that like allowing people to fix themselves is very important. Like it's something that we all need to be better at, is saying like, okay, this person screwed up, they did something wrong, but they want to make amends, they want to fix things, they want to do better. Like that's something that we should allow. And so if Trump's doing things like prison reform and stuff like that, that's something that we should I don't know if you want to say give props for, but at least let him even the playing field, or even out on his scale on that one.
Sure.
Same with Kamala. My overall point is just that I felt like people were always speculating and being unfair to Trump by saying like he's so like worried about how whether or not people like him, and that he's so worried about being cool and being famous and all of this other stuff that like I can't think of the word, like where you're like self-conscious, that he's a very, very self-conscious person. And I always thought,
yes,
dude takes so much heat though. Like he'll post freaking crazy stuff on Twitter. If he was so worried about it, he wouldn't be such a nutcase all the time. Like he doesn't give a crap. That's what I see. Like I see somebody who just does not give a crap. They're willing to just say whatever's on their mind. But people kept saying, and I think taxes play into that that sort of mindset, that he's
weird.
Very self-conscious.
You're right. It is weird because I see arguments for both sides of it. Like he cares so much. He's so emotionally attached to his image, and he's so fragile. His ego is so fragile that they have to fabricate his rally numbers and Photoshop how many people actually attended his inauguration. He's so fragile, yet he says such outlandish shit on like Twitter that you're like, this guy can't possibly give a fuck what people think about him. Like he is the Dr. Jekyll Hyde of giving a fuck about yourself. It's ridiculous because he's one way 1 second and then he's the fucking other way. It's very weird. He is very eccentric. He's probably our most eccentric president ever.
Although I mean,
like,
it's
I
probably
can't think
true.
of one that's so wacky.
it's probably true that he plays to his audience a lot, that he says like, okay, I found a group of people
Oh,
that like
yeah.
me, they love me, they, they praise me, and so what I can say whatever I want, just direct it at them, make sure they like it, make sure they're never upset with me, make sure they never disown me or anything like that. And that way he can say the most outlandish things to a lot of other people, but as long as his base is happy with it, as long as they enjoy it, as long as they feel like he's saying the right thing, then he still gets all the love, he still gets all the praise, and that's exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, that's why he faked
Whatever keeps him
COVID
in
after he
people's
died from
mind.
COVID.
Say that again, chicken.
I was gonna say that's why he died from COVID and then faked having COVID.
Yeah,
so,
true.
yeah.
True that. True. Very true.
It was all publicity stunt. It was all about his
Oh,
brand.
wow.
It was all about his image. Yeah. To
Yeah.
avoid taxes.
Yeah.
That's all this is. It's a big game to avoid taxes. That's all the last 3.5 years it's been.
Yeah.
God, I wish there was actually shit that I cared about with these fucking politicians.
I know, right?
I don't care. I don't care what any of them fucking pay in their taxes, because even if they all didn't pay taxes, which wouldn't shock me in the fucking slightest, what annoys me more than the taxes is the ludicrous amounts of money that we pay them to do fucking nothing. The ridiculous amounts of jobs that were created to just have a job and earn money for doing nothing. I'm more worried about that, and then having to pay these fucking people with our taxes. I don't care what they pay in fucking taxes. I don't. It's so fucking stupid. And it's just one of those stupid buzzword fucking headlines that gets the other side all riled up. Oh, he didn't pay enough in tax. I don't fucking care. God
I mean, I think it
damn.
should matter. It should correlate to being, fiscally conservative, whether or not you, whether
Trump's
or not
not
you pay
really a
taxes,
Republican,
you-
though. Come on.
No,
he's
he is not.
He's not. And that's like, you guys know, I've been harping on that for a long time, saying like, people are like, you're not a real Republican, you don't support Trump. I'm like, whoa, like, hold on there, buddy. Like, I don't support Trump because I am a Republican.
He kind of hijacked the Republican Party. He did.
Yes.
He did.
This has been
Absolutely.
my biggest problem. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Trump overall, I don't think he's the worst thing in the world, but as a conservative, I'm not as concerned as of the Republican Party as I am more concerned for conservatism as a way of life, as an ideology. Like, that's what I care about. That's my bread and butter. And I feel like he is hijacking it and moving it in another direction. And I don't like that other direction. I don't want that other direction. I want conservatism. I want, Christian values. I want
Sure.
traditional
Yeah.
values. I want that
There's-
stuff to stay
There's
the
a
same.
few things.
You gotta get the Dr. Pepper with it. That's the way it goes. You gotta get the Dr. Pepper with it. That's the way it goes. Hot Cheetos. Hot Cheetos. That's the way it goes. Gotta get the Dr. Pepper with